What if the greatest mistake of your life wasn't something you did, but someone you chose? Think back. Maybe it started years ago. She smiled at you a certain way, like she saw something inside you. No one else did. You were young, hungry to be seen, and in her eyes you found meaning. Or so you thought. At first it felt like purpose, her admiration, her approval. You told yourself it was love. But slowly, almost too slowly to notice something shifted. You stopped dreaming as boldly. You compromised a little more. You gave her time, attention, validation. You ignored the tension in your gut and told yourself it was just normal relationship problems. You fought to make her happy, but somewhere along the way, you stopped making yourself proud. Years pass. Your goals fade into memories. Your vision grows quiet. And in the mirror, a man stares back at you, not broken, but hollow. Not defeated, but lost. And deep down, a quiet voice asks, how the hell did I end up here? This isn't just your story. It's the story of millions of men. Men who weren't weak, just misled. Men who traded their fire for a feeling. Men who gave everything to a woman who never saw their kingdom, only their usefulness. But today, that ends. Because this video isn't just about women. It's about awakening. It's about reclaiming the mission you buried beneath her approval. And it starts with a truth no one else has the courage to say aloud. But once you hear it, you'll never see your life the same way again. History does not weep for the man who chose poorly. It does not send sympathy to his broken home, his shattered ambition, or the legacy he'll never leave behind. No history buries him silently alongside his potential under the rubble of what could have been. And the saddest part, he wasn't evil. He wasn't lazy. He wasn't unworthy. He simply chose the wrong woman. That was his fatal mistake. Not a crime, not a betrayal, not a weakness. A decision. One decision that cost him everything. No man sets out to destroy himself. But most don't realize that destruction often enters their life wearing perfume and a smile. She doesn't break the door down. She walks through it gently, whispers, promises, mirrors your dreams. And by the time you realize something's wrong, the damage is already done. She's not your partner. She's your distraction. And worse, she's the reason you betrayed yourself. You gave her your time, your focus, your future. You stopped building your empire to build her comfort. You silenced your voice to avoid arguments. You shrank your mission so she wouldn't feel small. And in the end, you became a man who forgot how to lead because you spent years following her moods. This is the first truth. The wrong woman doesn't just waste your time, she rewrites your story. Not with fire or betrayal, but with slow erosion. One compromise at a time. One silenced instinct at a time. One missed opportunity at a time. Until you're a shadow of the man you were meant to become. And when it's over, the world won't comfort you. It will simply move on, and so will she. When you begin to fall, don't expect the world to catch you, because no one will. Not your mother who taught you kindness, but never told you how to protect your edge. Not your friends who laugh with you, but quietly watch your decline, unsure how to speak truth into your blindness. And certainly not society, a machine that profits from men who forget who they are. You see, the greatest betrayals are not done with knives, but with silence. With the absence of warning, with the empty encouragements of just love her harder or real men stay no matter what. They won't tell you that not all women are worth staying for, because society is not built to protect men from bad choices. It's built to condition them into making them. It rewards your obedience, not your clarity. It applauds your emotional vulnerability, but mocks your strategic discernment. And in the background, the clock is ticking. Every moment you stay asleep believing that love alone will save you is a moment your power drains, your mission fades, and your instincts die. Machiavelli never told men to be cruel. He told them to be aware, to see the game being played, to understand that power once forfeited is not easily regained. And most men today are playing blind. They think loyalty is love. They think tolerance is strength. But what they call love is often surrender. What they call peace is just quiet self-erasure. So when you crash, when your spirit is hollowed out and your ambition lies in ruins, you'll realize the bitter truth: no one warned you, because no one could. Because no one else lives with the consequences but you. And by then, the silence will be deafening. The world loves to complicate what is at its core, brutally simple. There are only two kinds of women in a man's life: those who build and those who break. No shades of gray. No exceptions hiding behind beauty or charm. She either adds value to your mission, or she drains it drop by drop until you forget why you started. Most men waste years trying to justify the woman who does not multiply their purpose. They say she means well, or has potential, or that things will get better. But these are the lullabies men sing to themselves as their empires quietly collapse. A beneficial woman sharpens you. She challenges your laziness. She respects your time. She believes in your vision even when it's not convenient. You feel more disciplined, more focused, more alive around her, not because she entertains you, but because she aligns with the man you're becoming. She doesn't need to be managed. She manages herself. She doesn't compete with your leadership. She complements it. But the destructive woman, she's the one who demands everything while offering nothing but chaos in return. She appears beautiful, supportive, even loving at first. But underneath the smile is resentment. Underneath the affection is control. She drains your attention, distracts your discipline, mocks your ambition. And if you dare to set boundaries, she calls it cruelty. If you assert your direction, she calls it oppression. And the most dangerous thing about a destructive woman, she rarely looks like a threat. She often looks like everything you thought you wanted. That's why you must stop judging by the surface. Stop trusting what you feel. Start measuring what she costs. Because the truth is simple: she's either helping you rise or pulling you under. There is no neutral woman. She may be the most beautiful woman you've ever laid eyes on. Her smile may melt your defenses. Her presence may make the world feel slower, softer, intoxicating. And your mind, drunk on hormones and fantasy, tells you she's different. She must be. Look at her. She can't possibly be dangerous. But that's the trap. That's the illusion. Because nature designed beauty to disarm judgment, to make you forget what you should be verifying. And many men, strong men, smart men, have fallen not to violence but to beauty, not to deception but to desire. Her face may be flawless, but what's behind it? An empty mind, a chaotic soul, values shaped by Instagram, not integrity. Because if her beauty is the only thing that captivates you, then you are not choosing a queen, you are choosing a curse. Beauty without depth is a polished poison. It excites your senses but erodes your future. You won't notice it at first. The decay is slow. You'll just stop dreaming as boldly. You'll feel the drag in your ambition, the fog in your mind, the discomfort in your own skin. And all the while you'll keep telling yourself, she's amazing. Look at her. Machiavelli said it best: everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. And most men never look beyond the surface. They marry a face, not a future. They pursue a body, not a bond. And then they wonder why everything fell apart. If you want a woman who multiplies your life, you must go deeper. Look at how she speaks about others. Watch how she treats strangers. Observe how she lives when no one's watching. Because beauty fades, but character that either anchors your empire or burns it to the ground. If you want to know who she really is, don't watch her when she's being adored. Watch her when she's being denied. Boundaries are the fire that reveals a woman's true character. They strip away performance, peel off charm, and expose what lies underneath the illusion. Tell her no, withdraw your attention, cut off access to your time, your money, your energy, and observe. Does she respond with respect or with retaliation? Does she lean into grace or does she weaponize guilt? Most men are trained to believe that saying no makes them harsh, that creating space is abandonment, that guarding their own time is selfish. So they bend, they give in, they stay silent to keep the peace. And in doing so, they teach her one irreversible lesson, that their lines are negotiable. And a man whose boundaries bend will always be pushed further until he no longer recognizes himself. The truth is, the way she reacts to your distance tells you everything about how she sees your value. A woman who respects you will respect your space. She won't beg guilt or manipulate. She'll reflect. She'll take accountability. She'll meet you in the standard you've set. But the one who lashes out, who punishes your silence with chaos or coldness, she never loved you. She loved the control. You see, female manipulation isn't always loud. Sometimes it's tears. Sometimes it's sudden sweetness. Sometimes it's pretending to change just long enough to stay close. But real loyalty is tested when you're no longer convenient. If she only values you when you're giving, she never valued you at all. You don't discover truth in comfort, you discover it in resistance. So test her. Not to hurt her, but to see her. Because the woman who survives your boundaries is the only one worth building with. Every woman is on her best behavior when she's entertained. When the dinners are exciting, the compliments flow freely, and the spotlight is on her. In that space, love seems effortless. But that isn't reality, that's a performance. The real test doesn't come when life is loud. It comes when everything gets quiet, when the thrill fades, when the music stops and routine settles in. That's when her true nature steps forward. Boredom is the mirror, and what a woman does with stillness will tell you everything about her emotional maturity. Does she create or does she destroy? Does she use silence to reflect, to build, to grow? Or does she ignite chaos just to feel alive again? Many men fall in love with a version of her that only exists under perfect conditions. They think they've found peace. But what they've really found is a temporary mask, one that cracks the moment real life requires patience, consistency, or self-control. The woman who cannot regulate herself in boredom will eventually turn the quiet moments of your life into battlegrounds. She'll pick fights for no reason. She'll stir drama just to avoid stillness. And over time, that volatility will wear you down. It will drain your focus, test your sanity, and sabotage your mission. You want a woman who brings calm, not one who craves chaos. A woman who values peace, not attention. A woman who doesn't need constant stimulation to feel connected. Because in the long road of life, excitement is fleeting, but character remains. So don't be fooled by how she acts in the spotlight. Watch how she behaves when nothing is happening. That's when the real story begins. And it's in those quiet chapters that you'll either build a kingdom or survive a war. They'll tell you her past doesn't matter, that caring about it makes you insecure, that love means accepting everything without question. But here's the cold truth. No one wants to say out loud her past is your warning. Her patterns are your prophecy. What she's done before you, how she's treated others, how she's moved through love, loyalty, and loss is the clearest map you'll ever have of what she'll do to you. People don't change because you believe in them. They change because they've done the hard work of transformation, and most haven't. Most are not starting fresh with you. They're continuing a cycle. A woman who cheated before, who burned bridges, who ran from accountability, she doesn't suddenly become faithful just because you show her love. She sharpens her deception. She hides her past. And by the time you discover the truth, she's already rehearsing her exit. You want to know your future, study her history. Was she disciplined? Was she honest? Was she respected by those who knew her best, not just followers, but family mentors, friends? Or was her life a revolving door of broken relationships, drama, and unhealed wounds? That doesn't just disappear. That becomes your reality if you choose to ignore it. The lie that her past is irrelevant is designed to keep men blind. But blindness is not love, it's negligence. And it's how legacies fall. So don't ask for promises. Look for patterns. Don't marry words, marry proof. Because her history is not a museum, it's a mirror. And the man who refuses to look into it will one day look into his own and wonder how he missed what was right in front of him. A man without a mission is already defeated. But a man with a mission and the wrong woman beside him is headed for something worse than defeat. He's headed for slow, invisible sabotage. Not by violence, not by betrayal, but by daily erosion. You tell her your goals and she rolls her eyes. You talk about legacy and she tells you to live a little. You speak of discipline and she calls you obsessive. These moments may seem small, harmless, even playful, but they are signs. And a man who dismisses these signs will one day wake up in a life that no longer reflects his own vision. The truth is, she doesn't have to destroy your mission to ruin you. All she has to do is mock it, diminish it, and distract you from it. She'll do it subtly through sarcasm, emotional guilt, or withdrawal of support. And the moment you begin to adjust your purpose to make her more comfortable, you're no longer building a future. You're buying permission to exist. A real woman, a valuable woman, doesn't compete with your direction. She aligns with it. She challenges you to rise, not retreat. She respects your structure, not resents it. And if she can't leave, it doesn't matter how beautiful she is, how sweet she sounds, or how much history you share. If she doesn't believe in your mission, she will quietly wage war against it day by day, word by word, moment by moment. You are not here to explain your purpose to someone who can't see it. You are here to protect it, cultivate it, and pursue it with unwavering fire. Because a man's mission is sacred, and the woman who mocks it is not a partner, she's an anchor. A woman cannot truly value what she does not believe she can lose. That's not bitterness, it's human nature. What costs nothing is worth nothing. And if you've made yourself endlessly available, always forgiving, always giving, always there, no matter how she behaves, she will never respect you. She may enjoy your presence. She may use your loyalty. She may even call it love. But deep in her core, she will begin to resent you because you've taught her that you'll stay no matter what she does, that there are no consequences, that your self-respect is negotiable. Respect is not built in the good times. It's built when you draw a line and stand on it, when you say no more and mean it, when you walk away not to manipulate, but because your standards are sacred. The man who is willing to walk away commands power, always has, always will. Because absence reveals truth. When you step back, you see what's real. Does she rise in maturity, or does she collapse into manipulation? Does she reflect or retaliate? Love without respect is slavery with a smile. It's a man shackled to a woman who knows she owns him, not through connection, but through his fear of being alone. And if you won't leave because you're afraid of starting over, understand this: you are not in love. You are in dependency. And that dependency is the death of your edge, your clarity, your fire. Let her know, not through threats, but through posture, that you are a man who walks if respect dies. Because when a woman fears losing you, she doesn't shrink. She sharpens. Her tone changes. Her loyalty deepens. And that fear doesn't destroy love. It defines it. You think she loves you because she vents to you, because she cries in your arms, because she shares her fears and trauma and darkness. But pay attention. Vulnerability is not loyalty. Proximity is not submission. Emotion is not devotion. You are not her therapist. You are not her emotional trash can. And if you've been conditioned to believe that being the man who understands her better than anyone makes you special, you're already on dangerous ground. Because what matters isn't how she opens up to you, it's how she responds when you lead. Does she follow your guidance? Does she respect your decisions when you take charge? Does she rise to meet your standard, or does she crumble under it and call it pressure? Many men become emotionally entangled with women who see them not as kings, but as providers of comfort, providers of validation, a shoulder, a wallet, a punching bag for emotional chaos, but never a man whose strength must be honored. The danger lies in thinking that your patience will earn her respect, that if you listen enough, love her enough, wait long enough, she'll see your worth. She won't, not if she never respected it in the first place. Women don't follow men because they listen well. They follow men whose values shape the room. And if she vents to you but never grows from your insight, she's not your woman. She's using your presence to regulate her chaos until she finds a man she actually respects. You are not her safe space if she cannot handle your structure. You are not her future if she resents your authority. And if she only leans on you in weakness but never rises in strength, you're not her king. You're her emotional crutch. And that's not love, that's servitude. Respect is never granted through begging. It cannot be bartered, reasoned, or pleaded into existence. It is not the reward for being understanding, available, or emotionally generous. Respect is commanded not through volume or threats, but through presence, posture, and unwavering standards. And the man who tries to earn it by shrinking himself only teaches her one thing, that he is not worthy of it. You see, most men don't lose respect all at once. They lose it one apology at a time, one silent compromise, one ignored boundary. They think they're being noble. They think bending will create peace. But peace built on the corpse of your self-respect isn't peace, it's submission. And a woman can smell it. She may not say it. She may not even fully understand it. But she will feel it. And once she senses you'll do anything to keep her, she'll stop feeling the need to rise for you. The irony is cruel. The more you try to prove yourself, the more invisible you become. The man who refuses to walk away becomes the man she walks over. The man who fears upsetting her becomes the man she grows bored of. Because respect isn't something she gives, it's something she recognizes. And if you don't live like you deserve it, she never will. You must stop thinking of relationships as negotiations. You're not sitting at a table trading affection for loyalty. You're building an empire. And anyone unwilling to honor the codes of that empire has no place in your kingdom. So remember this: if you have to explain your worth, you've already lost. A man of value doesn't argue for respect. He lives in such a way that losing him is the real consequence. That is the only language respect speaks. You want to know how she truly sees you. Don't ask her. Listen to how she talks about other men, not just her exes, not just the men who hurt her, but all men: her father, her brothers, her co-workers, her mentors. The pattern in her words will tell you more than any love letter ever could. Because a woman who carries bitterness toward men in general will eventually aim that resentment at you. Not because you failed her, but because she never saw men as worthy of following in the first place. Does she speak with admiration or with sarcasm? Does she recognize masculine strength, or does she mock it under the guise of jokes? Does she respect discipline, leadership, and decisiveness? Or does she label those traits as controlling, toxic, or outdated? These aren't opinions, they're red flags. And most men ignore them because the attention feels too good, too validating, too easy. But here's the brutal truth: a woman who does not respect masculinity will never fully submit to it. She might act sweet in the beginning. She might play the part while the spotlight is on. But bitterness always leaks. It will surface in her tone, her complaints, her subtle power plays. And when it does, you'll realize too late you married a critic, not a companion. A competitor, not a queen. You don't need a woman who worships you. You need one who believes in what you stand for. Because if she secretly despises the essence of manhood, your strength will never feel like shelter to her, it will feel like oppression. And that tension will rot the foundation of everything you try to build with her. Don't be fooled by chemistry. Listen to her language. It reveals everything. It's easy to fall for promises. They sound beautiful, hopeful, clean. She says she's different now. She says she's ready to build, to commit, to grow. And maybe she believes it in that moment. But don't confuse words with reality. Because love is not built on promises. It's built on patterns. And a woman's past behavior is a blueprint for your future experience. Men destroy themselves by ignoring this. They believe they're the exception. That with enough love, patience, or guidance, they'll bring out a version of her no man has ever seen. But if her life before you was chaos, it won't become peace just because you walked in. If she lived irresponsibly, chased validation, avoided accountability, don't expect marriage to transform her. You are not the catalyst for her redemption. You're just the next stage of her pattern. You must stop falling in love with potential. Potential is a future promise based on no evidence. Patterns are what you actually have. Does she follow through? Does she stay calm under pressure? Does she take responsibility or blame everyone else? If you ignore what her life has already revealed, you are not choosing wisely. You're gambling your legacy on fantasy. The harsh truth is that most men don't want to see the pattern. They want to believe the fairy tale. But Machiavelli warned us the wise man does at once what the fool does finally. Stop waiting for her to change. Stop hoping she'll evolve mid-relationship. Choose the woman who has already done the work, who doesn't need to be saved, reshaped, or convinced. Because what you allow now becomes your reality later. And the man who builds on promises builds on sand. One of the most dangerous illusions a man can hold is the belief that his love can save a broken woman. That if he just stays long enough, listens deeply enough, sacrifices hard enough, she'll heal. She'll transform. She'll finally see him as the answer she's been waiting for. But this is not love. This is delusion. And delusion is how kings are turned into caretakers, warriors, into therapists, builders, into emotional band-aids. You are not her God. You are not her father. You are not her savior. A woman who refuses to change on her own will not change because you love her. In fact, the more you give, the more she'll expect. The more you forgive, the more she'll exploit. She doesn't want to be led. She wants to be enabled. And if you confuse your emotional loyalty for leadership, you'll spend your days fixing cracks in a foundation that was never meant to carry weight. Men waste years trying to rescue women who have no intention of growing. They mistake her pain for depth, her chaos for complexity. But not every damaged soul is deep. Some are just reckless. And the longer you stay, the more of yourself you'll lose your time, your energy, your vision. Until one day you're standing in the ashes of a life you were meant to build, realizing you traded your legacy for her healing, and failed at both. Here's the truth. A woman who cannot save herself will drown you while calling it love. You were never meant to carry someone else's transformation. You were meant to build, to lead, to protect what you create, not sacrifice it, trying to fix what someone else refuses to face. Let her go. Not because you're cruel, but because you're clear. A man without purpose is easily distracted. A man who makes a woman his purpose is already lost. You were not born to orbit her emotions, to build your identity around her validation, or to wake up each day wondering how to keep her interested. That is not love, that is captivity disguised as connection. Your purpose is not to serve a woman's approval. Your purpose is your mission, your discipline, your legacy. And yet most modern men have flipped the hierarchy. They wake up chasing affection, not advancement. They shape their lives around her preferences, her moods, her timeline. And in doing so, they abandon the very path that was meant to give them power. A woman should be a companion to your calling, not the center of your universe. She is a multiplier, not the meaning. You want to know why she loses respect. It's not because you're not kind. It's not because you don't love her enough. It's because she senses you've built your identity around her. And no woman trusts a man who forgets his mission. She doesn't want to be your world. She wants to orbit a world that's already spinning with force. When you abandon your purpose for her presence, she may smile at first, but inside she knows you've traded strength for safety. And safety doesn't stir admiration. It breeds contempt. Let her witness your focus. Let her feel the gravitational pull of a man who's building something bigger than desire. And if she mocks it, downplays it, or tries to make you choose between her and your path, you already have your answer. Because a man with no mission is forgettable. But a man on fire with purpose, he doesn't chase women. He attracts warriors. And only a queen will have the courage to stand beside him. Any woman can act right when you're watching. Any woman can behave when the spotlight is on, when the affection is flowing, when the attention is constant. But real loyalty isn't proven in your presence, it's exposed in your absence. The woman who honors your name when you're not in the room, who holds your standard when there's no reward for doing, so that is the woman worth building with. The rest, they're actresses, loyal only to circumstance, faithful only when it's convenient. Too many men mistake proximity for partnership. She stays close, she checks in, she smiles, but behind your back the mask drops. She entertains other men's attention. She flirts with boundaries. She speaks carelessly about you to friends. And by the time you discover it, the damage is done not just to your relationship, but to your identity. Because loyalty isn't something you discover too late. It's something you test early. Pull back, not to manipulate, but to observe. Does she respect the space, or does she fill the silence with chaos? Does she stay true to your values, or does she treat them like rules to be bent in your absence? A woman's true heart is revealed when you are no longer right beside her. Does she carry your presence even when you're gone, or does she only perform when supervised? This is not paranoia, it's protection. Because a woman who cannot be trusted in solitude will absolutely betray you in crisis. And a man who never tests her before commitment is not noble. He's a fool hoping for faithfulness from someone who never showed it. Loyalty is not proven through declarations. It's proven when no one's watching. And if she fails that test, let her go. Because absence doesn't just reveal love, it reveals truth. Most men don't fall because of catastrophe. They fall because of comfort, slowly, quietly, silently. One compromise at a time, one ignored standard, one excuse dressed as compassion, until one day they wake up in a life they no longer recognize, a life built around someone else's expectations, desires, moods. And they wonder where their fire went, their vision, their strength. But it didn't disappear. It was slowly traded away for comfort. Comfort feels good in the moment, her arms, her praise, her smile. But when it becomes your compass, you are no longer a man on a mission. You are a man surviving peace that was purchased at the price of your purpose. And here's the brutal truth. Many women don't intentionally destroy. Men, they simply reflect what men are willing to tolerate in order to feel wanted. Every time you stayed silent to avoid conflict, you trained yourself to be passive. Every time you let disrespect slide to keep the peace, you slowly dulled your edge. And every time you chose harmony over truth, you lost a piece of yourself. This is how empires fall, not from war, but from the slow rot of unchecked comfort. Masculine clarity demands discomfort. It demands confrontation, solitude, discipline. It requires saying no when it would be easier to say yes. It calls you to walk away from what's soft, what's easy, what strokes your ego but suffocates your mission. And until you choose discomfort over dependency, you'll never see clearly. You'll keep calling weakness love and compliance loyalty. So remember, a man who fears discomfort will always bow to it. But a man who embraces it, who lets the fire burn away what is false, will rise with a clarity no woman, no lie, no comfort can take from him. The message is clear. Your life rises or falls by the standards you set, especially in your relationships. As a man, your mission must come first. Not because love isn't important, but because love without alignment is a slow death. The wrong woman can derail your purpose, dilute your vision, and drain your energy, not out of malice, but because you ignored the early signs. The way she handles boredom, boundaries, your absence, or your discipline. These are not minor details. They are indicators of whether she is capable of building with you or destined to break you. In a world that encourages men to chase validation, to compromise endlessly, to conflate weakness with compassion, the highest act of love you can give yourself is discipline. Protect your peace. Walk away from disrespect. Stop trying to save someone who refuses to grow. Choose a woman who values your standards because she lives by her own. This isn't about fear or control, it's about clarity. And clarity only comes when you stop negotiating with your worth. You're not here to be liked. You're here to lead. You're not here to entertain. You're here to build. Choose accordingly. Your future depends on it.